Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into a new edition of the Batter Up podcast, sponsored by the Dugout of Millwood here on the Sports Insanity Network. We have the top of the lineup with you. We got Danny Boy Reginald, we got the old apps guy, Mike Rifkin. Gentlemen, good morning. How are you?
Awake.
A-okay. I'm A-okay.
Dan's A-okay. Mark's awake. It's perfect. It's April. The weather's getting warmer.
Hallelujah.
So there's a lot to be positive about. But we got some negative stuff we'll get into on the show. We'll get into some positive stuff. But let's get into what happened during the week. And we had our first bench clearing brawl of 2026 between the Braves and the Angels. So for those who don't know, earlier in the game, Jorge Soler hit a home run. His next at bat, he got some chin music from Ronaldo Lopez. They said some things, and then all hell broke loose. Bench is cleared. The bullpen's cleared. Walt Weiss is throwing people around too. The end result is Soler and Lopez each got a 7-game suspension. Here it is on Dan's computer.
Courtesy of Major League Baseball.
Courtesy of MLB.
Not a sponsor, but would like them to be.
Shout out Rob Manfred, Bill Murphy's favorite person.
Yeah.
Yeah, that pitch was high and inside.
It was way too high. And clearly, I mean, I don't know if he was trying to send a message there, but
Completely, the pitch screwed up the chance of taking the guy out at second.
whoa.
And look at this. UFC 327 was last night, but these guys were throwing.
I mean, there's a whole this is a rugby scrum right here.
I had to tell you, my favorite thing is the bullpens. Like, what are these guys going to do?
Well, I love the guys in the catching equipment from the bullpens, how they always have to jog out with the equipment.
He just couldn't calm down there. I mean,
no. End result is both guys get a 7-game suspension. They are both appealing. I do have one problem with this. And it's not even the fact of what happened. I hate when they suspend starting pitchers per game. It should be per start because they only pitch once every 5 days. So this guy's going to miss one start compared to Jorge Soler, who could miss up to 7 games.
See, that's a argument we've never had here on the network, and it's a good one. It's a very valid point because we've seen pitchers get suspended, and it's like Mike said, if they get suspended 5 days and it's a 5-pitch rotation, okay, they miss one start. But if it's someone like a regular everyday guy, he's gonna miss 5 starts. Where is the equal in value? And I agree with Mike on this that it has to be. I don't know. I mean, I guess making a pitcher miss 5 starts. I mean, that's a month of time compared to 5 days. So there has to be some balance or structure. I agree with.
I think one start, and you can't be with the team throughout your suspension time is fair enough.
Okay.
Like you're not with the team. You can't practice with like your catcher or anything. You know how they have bullpen sessions and stuff. Just an idea. Keep
Everything, all of your work is by yourself. You're not
exactly. Or like if you have like a trainer or somewhere, which could also be dangerous um if you're working out with someone that's not certified working in baseball, but still, like you're restricted with access with your team,
I think
and
that's
and you
I
miss
think that's a
and you
balance
miss
of
your start.
fairness. Yeah, I think that's a balance of fairness there.
Well,
And you got to wonder if this is something that gets discussed in the next CBA, which obviously we know ends at the end of this season. And we'll, obviously don't want to rush the baseball season ahead, but we do know it could be on the horizon. But
comment down below, by the way, if we're off on any of these points, like if they already do this, like please let us know.
Right. We're here. We're here right here to answer any of
You know,
your questions that you
we're, we're
pose.
we're baseball fans, but we just like Jazz Chisholm, we don't know everything. So it's like
that was the worst comment you could make.
That
yeah,
was a great answer, Dan.
yeah.
Oh man. This dude
At least he's in the league and he plays baseball every day. So it's like,
Yeah.
just doesn't know what he's doing.
you know.
Talking about wanting to go 50-50. Oh. Actually, it's a pretty good segue because I didn't put this into the rundown, but I did want to talk about this a little bit. Friday night, Dan, I'm sure you caught this being in DC with the Nationals using the bunt more against the Brewers. And then last night, the Rays do it against the Yankees.
Yeah.
We're starting to see a little bit of the revitalization here of the bunt and teams using a little bit more small ball.
Yeah. I mean, for the national sake, the only power hitters they truly have are C.J. Abrams and James Wood. So they have to, and of course, with a young manager and a young team, they have to find ways to manufacture runs. And if they have to go small ball, so instead of hitting home runs, which I don't think this team necessarily cares about, but will eventually when they get better, right? Um, I would imagine that the lineup is going to be set up where it's pretty small, where you're going to have speed on the bases, where you're going to have people that get on base, where you're going to have people that know how to bunt. And, Butera coming from the minor leagues, they're no strangers to bunting there. So it's not very shocking that we're seeing that. Same thing with the Rays, where he came from. Nothing shocks me with that. Um, and look, it's bold strategy. I love it. Like I said, you have to find ways to create runs. And look, it's a Moneyball style way of doing it. But look, teams like the Rays are really behind the eight ball. Like it's not like they have these big time power guys up and down the lineup like the Yankees do. So they have to find ways to score.
The bunt in being used now is both Dan and Mike are correct. It's been used more so this year already than what we have used to be seeing. And the bunt, the squeeze, the sacrifice, whatever you want to call the play, was greatly used in the 70s and the 80s when at that time, there wasn't a lot of 50, 60 home run guys, and you had to really produce runs via the term small ball. And a lot of teams this year, yeah, you have guys hitting home runs, but if you look at some of the big power hitters that you're waiting to see hit 30 and 40, they're doing fine hitting 280, whatnot, but they're lining doubles, they're getting triples, and they're bringing in runs, but they're just not doing it by the Powerball. So, is there a managerial shift within the entire league, not just the two teams that were just referenced? Has the bunt been reasserted to say, hey, look, we've ignored this long enough. We have guys with speed. Let's utilize this when we can.
I'm reminded of the scene in Major League during spring training where Willie Mays Hayes is saying batting practice and he said, he wants to hit homers. And Lou Brown goes up to him and he goes, every time you hit the ball in the air, you have to give me 20 push-ups. And I think of some of these really fast players right now, and I go, I love the fact that the bunt is becoming a threat. One, because I don't think enough teams work on their bunt defense anymore because it had been so rare at times, and it brings you the element of surprise. The other thing, and Mark, you kind of hit this. When the weather warms up, the ball's going to start carrying more. So we know homers are going to be what they are. But I like the fact that teams are going back to using small ball and not being so heavily reliant on the 3-run homer. Be multi-dimensional in how you can produce offensively. Because if you're a one-trick pony, you're not going anywhere.
Right. And you look at the guaranteed teams, as I like to call it, the teams they're going to be in the playoffs. They're not all comprised of, like they used to be, 4 or 5 guys who can hit 40 home runs. No, the teams are now more comprised of guys who can hit 260 or better. Yes, you have your thumpers. Of course, you're going to have them. But I think the league is coming around that fans want to see more interesting games and not just be there for the home run, while the home run yet is still awesome to see when it happens.
So the bunt making a comeback. All right. All right. Jumping around a little bit. So I don't know if you guys caught what happened in Seattle on Friday night. A statue was unveiled of one Ichiro Suzuki. Problem with the statue is when they unveiled it, the bat he was holding broke.
Yeah.
How that happens, we don't know.
I mean, poor Ichiro. I mean, the guy, let's face it, was probably the best contact hitter I've ever seen play in my time. But you get your statue, and then the one thing that you're known for was the bat breaks. That is just a bad omen.
The best part about it is people online going, yeah, he's still probably singled on that. But it got me thinking, like, let's have a conversation about some other guys who deserve some statues up in here, or where they played. I mean, one of the first things, Dan, I thought about was the captain, Derek Jeter. I know the Yankees have Monument Park, so they're different, but a statue of the captain just felt right saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all stadiums. I'm sorry, I don't want to say all stadiums. Teams like the Yankees have specialized, like Mike said, have Monument Park. Which, if you ever go and visit Yankee Stadium, make sure you go early to take the little tour of it, because it really is a nice, cool thing to see. It really is.
It's a must for any baseball fan.
Yes, and a statue outside your stadium has to be an iconic player. So for the Mets, they unveiled Tom Seaver last year or 2 years. Was it 2 years ago now? Added, Pujols got one. Now Ichiro. It has to be for that iconic player. So who will be next? Don't know, but here's the question I'm going to throw: who goes for the Marlins? Who gets the iconic statue for the Marlins?
Cabrera
Okay.
won him a championship.
For the Marlins.
It's a tough one.
You could make the argument for a couple of guys. Josh Beckett after his game 7 in the Bronx in 03.
Pudge.
Pudge was, if you could do the iconic Pudge holding the ball, that'd be a good one.
Yeah.
How about just the iconic Pudge throwing anybody out?
And look, obviously Miguel Cabrera will always be a Detroit Tiger, but he was a great Marlin too.
Well,
I think
he beat the Yankees single-handedly almost.
He homered off of Roger Clemens in the damn World Series.
I'm sorry, like he's a Marlin great.
That was a great at bat, though. That was a great at bat by Miggy and to one of the most hated guys I hate in the world. It was a good pitching matchup.
But Dan, to your point, like there's a group of people out there who would never remember that he came up as a Marlin or wouldn't even know that he came up as a Marlin. They only would know him as a Detroit Tiger.
Right.
That's how long ago that trade was.
Miggy, I've been there for your whole career. I know you're watching us. How about a smile?
I mean, Miggy was the man. I mean, if you go to Houston, Altuve.
With the wires hanging out?
Put it right next to the trash can if you want. I mean, but that dude's had so many iconic moments for that franchise.
Yeah, and the fact that he looks like an Oompa Loompa next to Aaron Judge helps.
Yeah, I wouldn't even go Oompa Loompa. He's just really small. I think an interesting one is when you think of these iconic franchises. Like right now, who would get a statue for the A's? Even though they're going to Vegas.
Jackson.
Like I think the A's would be an interesting one. I think
Jackson or Raleigh Fingers would be my two.
I think you got to go Raleigh because of the mustache,
the handlebar, the last baseballer to actually wear it good. Others have tried, but he at least made it work.
I mean, Cleveland, you got to at this point get one of Jose Ramirez.
Boston, obviously, you got the one of Ted Williams out there.
You could do one of Big Papi.
I would think so. There's room for it.
There's definitely room for it.
There's plenty of players out there who are deserving of it. As I said,
does he have a statue in Cleveland? Oh.
I'm sorry, who, Dan?
Jim Thome.
I don't think so. I don't think anybody's got. I don't know if anyone has a statue outside of Cleveland.
Is there space for a statue in Cleveland? I mean, I don't know. Like,
well, again, this is all hypothetical, so
right.
So, I mean, that's why I brought up Jose Ramirez, who in last night homered against Atlanta.
Yes,
homered against every team.
Jim Thome has a statue at Progressive Field. It was unveiled August 2nd, 2014.
2014.
Oh,
a while back. Okay.
Yeah. That's something I had to go look up, even so.
Was he still playing in 14, or was
no
the year he went to the Hall?
No, he retired. Was it like 2012, 2011? You retired?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
All the years
he was
just
not playing
pile up
in
now.
2014. He was not playing in 2014.
Because I know he had that one stint with the White Sox. And
and then he
retired in 12.
Yeah, 2012. Yeah, and then he also hit his 600th home run while with the Twins.
Yeah,
in
Detroit. I remember seeing
that on TV.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, that was a player to watch. He was something else.
Love Jim Thome.
Think about those Cleveland teams. You had a young Jim Thome. You had a young Manny Ramirez.
Albert Bell.
Kenny Lofton.
How that's not a high-end playoff team with just those names together, I don't know.
They should have won a World Series. Let's be real. They should have won a World Series.
They should have.
Yeah,
They lost two of them.
They lost twice, exactly.
they lost twice, and poor Albert Bell got the first fine for ever flipping off a fan because it was caught on live television.
Oh,
Albert Bell, another one that should be borderline Hall of Fame.
Oh,
yeah. No, that Omar Vizquel was on those.
oh God,
teams.
yeah, shortstop Vizquel.
One of the best defensive shortstops
Before
of all
he went to the
time.
Braves. Before he went to the Braves.
Oh. Sandy Alomar, I believe, was the catcher.
Was Roberto on that point, or was he in Toronto?
Roberto was in Toronto in the early 90s. Let me look
Because
where
I know he played for Cleveland, but I'm not sure if it was anywhere around the high stakes, so to speak.
Mets legend Roberto Alomar.
Yeah. Longest spitter in MLB history.
He was in Cleveland from 99 to 01.
Okay, so nowhere now. Way before.
No, he was in Toronto, and then he went to Baltimore.
Traveling man.
He played for a lot of teams.
Yeah, he did.
Started San Diego, Toronto, Baltimore, Cleveland, the Mets, the White Sox,
That's where
Arizona, and back to the White Sox.
That's where careers go to die.
2,724 hits for Roberto Alomar.
Still something.
And just because we were having the conversation before, I want to look up the okay, so Miguel Cabrera was a Marlin from 2003 to 2007. He was a Marlin for 4 years.
Yeah, and look what he accomplished in just those 4 years. And mind you, we know what Miggy's all-time stats are. But
138 homers.
He's never been to a World Series as a Tiger in his time.
Yeah, they did.
Did he? Oh,
they
shit,
went
they did.
Twice. They didn't win.
They didn't win. They went. That's right.
Yeah, they lost twice to the.
I get the ding first.
Actually, no, wait. Did they go? They went in 06.
06.
2012. No, that was it. 06 to 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
06 they lost to the Cardinals, and 12 they lost to the Giants.
Yeah,
Giants.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So they almost went in 13, but then Big Papi Ortiz.
Big Papi.
Yeah.
Think about those teams. Detroit for a second. Miggy, Verlander, Scherzer.
I mean, how that, there are teams that have great veterans on them right now. Of them, when they started, I'm probably closest to the one who've actually seen them all make their first starts compared to these two guys.
Miggy hit 313 as a Marlin.
Ridiculous. He was such a great overall hitter. He could hit for contact, but he could also hit for power.
Insane. Over 300 batting average, 500 dingers. Elite of the elite.
Absolute 5 and in.
And the last guy to win the Triple Crown.
Yep.
Oh, I believe that was the 2012 season. Now that I'm on Baseball Reference, I can actually look that up. But, yep, 2012.
So, I mean, yeah. Miguel Cabrera, hats off to you on a wonderful career.
Think about how blessed we were in our era. Miguel Cabrera, Albert Pujols, now some guy named Shohei Ohtani.
I mean, we got a whole crop. I mean, the new wave that has come up since about 2020 and is now making their breaks into the MLB. We are in for a real show in the upcoming years.
And we've been treated to one too. Like,
Yeah.
didn't even get into Trout and Harper.
Right. But now it's yeah, it's the likes of Kurtz and Ohtani,
Oh, Paul Skeens.
Yeah. Paul Skeens and Freddie Peralta. I mean, it's it's a different style of baseball now.
Anyway, congrats to Ichiro on getting a statue outside of Seattle. It's a shame your bat broke, though.
Yeah.
Okay. So, a couple of other things, then we'll get into the series for the weekend. I don't know if you guys have seen the dominance out west that is going on by a dude named Mason Miller, who is the closer of your San Diego Padres.
He has been something else.
He is off to a not even a good start. Frankly, it's a phenomenal start what Mason Miller's off to. As I'm just pulling up the numbers now. Mason Miller right now has 4 saves on the season. It's 7 appearances. He has a win. ERA of 0. A whip
Of zero.
of 0.27. In 7 1/3 innings pitch, he has 1 walk and 19 strikeouts.
Right. Now, mind you, if you put Mason Miller up against every closer that's in it, he's at the top, deservingly so. But let's just think about how much he is going to be used this season with a San Diego team that is a little up and down. I mean, they're keeping games close and whatnot. He could have a career year in not only appearances, saves, strikeouts. Let's just hope they don't overuse him to the point where he exhausts his arm.
I
His
think
career high in saves is 28, and that was in 2024.
and this is his 3rd season as a full-time reliever, right?
Yes.
I mean, the fact that he's putting up these type of numbers early on this season is actually very impressive. Um, I like how hitters are fearing him. Like, those closers they used to fear because he came onto the mound, like he was gonna shut the door. That's kind of the vibe that I'm kind of getting from Mason Miller, to start this season. It's kind of good because I always say in baseball the hardest 3 outs, the last 3 outs. And closers of recent times have certainly lived up to that. It hasn't been truly like really easy to get 3 outs in the 9th inning. But so far, I mean, this guy's like totally, totally cool, calm, going in there taking care of business. Um, and his velocity is incredible. He's like 106 miles an hour. Like
He's throwing hard.
it's his fastball's tough.
Yeah. He's got a couple of good pitches. I mean, a slider that is hitting 92. Come on.
Can you imagine whipping on that? Like, that's
You don't
rough.
have time to think.
Yeah, that's rough.
I mean, you take the likes, if you look at, I mean, just comparing him to the guy that left the Mets, Edwin Diaz, there's no contest across the board. Edwin Diaz looks like a geriatric compared to Mason Miller right now. And no offense, I still like Edwin Diaz. I don't like the fact that he went to the Dodgers. I like Edwin Diaz. But let's call it what it is. I want to see a lot more Mason Miller, but not to the point of injury, of course.
And think about if you were the A's, who just gave him away for a 17-year-old shortstop. I don't care how good the 17-year-old shortstop is. That's thinking a long
5 years
down
ahead
the
at
road.
least. You're thinking 5 years ahead. And if you're thinking 5 years ahead, let's just throw the name out there. Jerry Kelenic. I mean, look, the kid had all the prospects. The Mets traded him, got Diaz and the steroider.
Robinson Cano.
Yep.
I mean,
both are now gone. You know, one banned from MLB, the other one signed. But look at what the Mets got for Jared Kelenic. You know, and Kelenic's bounced around 3 teams before. Now it's pretty much the end. This kid's not going to become relevant for 5 years.
Yeah, and the Padres said, "Here you go." The A's said, "Okay, you can have Mason Miller." And the A's could use Mason Miller at the back end of their bullpen right now.
I mean, giving the A's a little bit of credit. They've been playing some good baseball.
Oh, absolutely. They won 4 in a row. They won
2
a
against
series
us.
against both New York teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, I'm the fool who said they'd get a wild card, so I don't need to be told twice.
Dan, let me ask you, because they just played the Yankees. Are you surprised Nick Kurtz came out without a home run at all?
I mean, no, Yankee pitching's actually been very good. And the fact is, Nick Kurtz, he's not just a home run guy. He can hit pretty much anywhere. So no.
Okay. Yeah,
And
he
the
has a goose egg on the year, and everybody's waiting for him to break out. You would think Yankee Stadium, with its dimensions, it gives him the best shot. But your point is also very well made. He's a guy who can slash all over the field.
And also, the ball's not carrying it. When the weather warms up, it's gonna. That'll be his only visit to the Bronx, unless they make the playoffs. All right.
Which you had picked.
All right. So we're about 2 weeks in, almost 3 weeks into the season. We got some teams off to some hot starts. We got some teams off to some cold starts. And then we got the Toronto Blue Jays, who are just everybody is getting hurt. George Springer fractured his big toe yesterday. Waiting to see what happens next. But the list of injuries for the Blue Jays keeps growing.
But that one, when you consider the injury for a big toe, considering when your body uses about 75% of that area to keep your balance, that's not going to be a 3-week in return. That's going to take time. And then Mike, you're right. The list of injuries goes on.
I mean, Addison Barger, Trey Savage, Macho Man Randy Savage.
He had another Slim Jim. I told him to lay off.
I mean, the Blue Jays have had a ton of injuries to start the year. And they sit right now with a record of 6-8 in the AL East. But they're not the team I really wanted to talk about. The team I wanted to talk about was the favorite team of one Bill Murphy, and that is the Boston Red Sox, who are off to a 5-9 start. They got a much-needed win last night in St. Louis. Ranger Suarez pitched a hell of a game.
Yeah.
But The Red Sox, Dan, it feels like this offense needs to get going sooner rather than later.
I mean, again, like I expected them to be somewhat competitive this year. And look, while I still don't have them making the playoffs, I'm shocked that they're not competitive. Like not even hitting wise. Like the pitching is, even though it hasn't been like necessarily the problem, is also kind of disappointing too. So the Red Sox they're in a lot of they have a lot of issues. I know it's April. I don't want to overreact too
Yeah.
much, but not a good start. Like, I always say about 2, 3 weeks in, you get a sense of what a team is like. And look, things can always turn around. Mets nearly turned it around in 19. They did it in 24 too. So you can always change around. But at the same time, if it spills later on, there's gonna be legit concerns.
When you look at this new Boston team, it's very different from what last year was. Completely different. They're not as patient at the plate to start the season. This is, mind you, 3 weeks in. Just looking at the quick stats and then kicking it to Mike. Not very patient as by the lightness of walks. Wilyer Abreu is your best player right now. And that's not something you would think you would hear out of the Red Sox, especially with the names they have. Mike?
Especially because he's not even related to Bobby Bray, but that's a whole nother conversation. And it's important guys too who haven't hit yet. Jaron Durant has not hit. Trevor Story, who had a renaissance year last year, hasn't hit yet. The young players, I know it takes some time, but they're kind of invested into these guys. They need to get them going. I think the Red Sox are good enough. Like Dan, you said, it's early. They have the pitch. And I think once this weather gets warmer, we're going to get more and more offense from teams, Boston being one of them. But you can't have 3 or 4 guys hitting 100 or in the one twenty.
Between a buck 50 and a buck 88.
Yeah, that's just not going to get it done. I don't care who's pitching for you. So, but right now the Red Sox haven't gotten off to a hot start. Another team not off to the hottest of starts did get a win yesterday, but Dan, the Tigers are 2-8 in their first 10 road games.
It's like, damn.
They're 4-1 at home, 2-8 on the road.
Well, I mean, and again, you nailed it. Home, no problem. But once they go on the road, it's a different story. Like it's like every part about the Tigers that we love, the home run hitting, the pitching, and everything, it seems to just go away when they hit the road. It's kind of surprising too, for a team that we have a lot of expectations. And look, they're under 500 to start the season, so through 15 games. It's rough.
It is. I agree with Dan completely. I mean, a lot of the focus is off of Torkelson and Riley Green as Kevin McGonigal has broken through this year. And, so the focus is on them. So a lot of the pressure should be off of them. But Green and Torkelson haven't gotten going either. Mind you, we've talked about other teams with players aren't going. It's not just one team that you have players aren't going. It's all teams have a player or two who have not found their way yet.
And Green did homer yesterday, so his first of the year. And, obviously we know the top of that rotation with Skubal and Framber Valdez should be good for the rest of the year. But pick it up. Also, congratulations to AJ Hinch. Yesterday, he picked up his 400th win as manager of the Tigers. This is from the Tigers PR. He's the 8th manager in franchise history to reach 400 wins and joins Cincinnati's Terry Francona, who did it with Boston and Cleveland, as the only two active managers with 400 wins with more than one team. So congratulations to AJ Hinch.
Yeah, that's a great accomplishment.
All right. Other teams not off to hot starts. The Mariners, even though they got the walk-off win last night over the Astros after trailing by 5.
Another team a few of us had high hopes for. Again, still early.
Hold on, Mark. Here's how the standings in the AL West look right now. The Rangers and the Athletics are 7-7. The Angels are 7-8. The Mariners and Astros are 6-9.
It's just.
I know you're not going to get separation early, but man, that's pretty fun.
Yeah, I mean, over the last 3 years, and maybe it's me, and these guys might disagree with me. Obviously, we know what Cal Raleigh did last year, and the expectation. I don't want to say I want to forget about him. I want to focus on the other person. 2 other people. One, they brought in Josh Naylor, who hasn't hit a redwood that if it was in front of him. And then also another, I mean, it's not a complete slow start. I mean, he's hitting, but the extras part of it, the extra bases, the RBIs, home run, Julio Rodriguez, again, off to another disappointing start.
No, I have to take the blame on anything bad that happens for Julio this year. I have him in fantasy. So, Mariner fans, if he stinks this year, that's because I have some stupid curse when I draft people in fantasy. So, you can blame me.
Yeah. Okay, so Julio, maybe Mike will trade him to me, and you'll go on a run. Dan?
No. So
No.
Yeah. Nicely said.
What?
All right. So you get the Mariners, you go to the National League. Just really one. The Cubs are 6-8.
Big surprise there.
I thought better.
I think for the Cubs, it really set the tone when they lost to the Nationals 10-4 on opening day, which was that was tough to watch.
They also lose Cade Horton for the season, the young right-hander.
Yeah. Is it official?
Yeah, he's out for the year.
Oh, God damn.
Promising player.
Yeah, that just wasn't cool to hear. I knew he was injured. I didn't know it was that severe.
Yeah, elbow surgery.
Yeah, a lot of the elbows. So some Tommy John's in there already, and the Orioles lost a guy to Tommy John.
Yep. And again, I mean, how many other pitchers are we going to hear this year with the TJ word?
Yeah.
By the way, Tommy John should go into the Hall of Fame just for the surgery alone.
Thank you. just like the folks that made up the rotisserie league should be in the Hall of Fame. Like,
I would find that fun to have a little offshoot and have a little section at the Hall of Fame, have Tommy John in the center, and then around it all the pictures of all the guys who had the surgery because of his invention of it. Well, not his, the doctor. I apologize. The doctor who created the tendon movement and then got named for Tommy John.
Yeah. So those are some teams struggling, or if you want to get off to teams that are off to hot starts, obviously the Dodgers. But look, the Braves are 9-6. The Pirates are 9-5. The Reds are 9-6. The Guardians are 9-6.
Is it me, or are we happy to see a lot of these teams that were no relevance last year starting out of the gate running hot?
No, yeah, it's great to see. The Rockies are 6-9.
Yeah, I commented to you on that one last night.
They have the same record as the Giants. The White Sox and the White Sox are 5-10. They don't really.
I was about to say we know what the White Sox are.
The how about the Marlins? They're over 500 for right now.
Alcantara, I think, pitches today.
He does. He's off to a fabulous start. Through a Maddox and then gets pulled in the 8th inning with a shutout going. All right. So those are some of the good, the bad, the ugly. On to some series for the week. Mark, it's a rough week for the Mets. They got to go to LA, play the Dodgers. But what I hate about the schedule more so is they were in San Francisco last week. Now they got to go back to the West Coast. And then eventually they're going back because they're going to play in San Diego at some point, too. So, Mets, Dodgers this week in LA. I believe one of those games will be an Ohtani start.
The question is, how many home runs is Ohtani hitting? He has crushed the Mets. No matter how many times I watched him play, and even the game I attended when he was with the Angels with Ross, he went the day after he broke the camera or whatever, he went 3 for 4.
You asked the wrong question. Not how many will he hit. How many did Ipe gamble on for him to hit?
There we go. That's the right question. Mike, before you get to other team series, I want to call out one thing quickly.
Sure.
The ABS system has worked so far.
Oh, it's been awesome.
Oh, that reminds me.
Yeah, Dan and I talked about that last week. I mean, outside of that one horrendous day for CB Buckner, it's been really good.
Yeah. Hold on. I mean, tremendous. It's been absolutely tremendous so far. Do we have any time? I don't know if we're on a time constraint. But
go with whatever you want to say.
Well, I want to bring up Ken Rosenthal. He was on Foul Territory talking about ABS and the umpires' reaction to that. If that's okay.
Yeah.
This is great insight. People are going to completely disagree with Ken, but however you want to take it, it's up to you.
That you think is out there right now from the umpires who did agree to the ABS challenge system. Do you think it's more positive or more negative?
I would say more negative. And it seems to me that not all fans, but some fans, including some of my children, think this is a great thing because it's making the umpires look bad and it's showing that they aren't great at their jobs and it's correcting mistakes and all of that. The bottom line is the umpires are great at their jobs. They're really great at their jobs. But like anybody else, they're human and they're dealing with pitches that break like never before or thrown harder than ever before. And their job as plate umpires is more difficult than ever before. So it was written, the story, with the idea in mind that, hey, these guys are doing a good job and baseball's put them in this position, even though, of course, they did agree to it in collective bargaining, where they're kind of getting embarrassed. And part of this was about showing more sympathy to the umpires. I feel that should happen. And part of it was just kind of an expanded discussion of ABS and where this is, because the other aspect of this is that some umpires believe that this is not such a great thing for the game. And what I mean by that is they believe that there are going to be more walks and that pitchers and catchers eventually are going to get upset and agitated over losing so many strikes. And that's what's happening with the system. So this all remains to be seen whether that actually happens. In many ways, ABS is overwhelmingly positive, and I've written that I like it. I do like it. But in talking with some umpires over the last couple of weeks, there have been some concerns raised, and those are valid concerns. And when we're talking about ABS, it's not simply, oh man, I love this, it's great. There are layers to it. And that is what I wanted to get into here, the different layers that are going on.
Shout out Ken Rosenthal, Foul Territory.
Great show if you don't watch it.
Yeah. I mean, look, first of all, he's dead on about eventually how pitchers are going to get pissed off because they're going to lose some strikes that will turn into balls and strikeouts will turn into walks. It's already happening.
Yep.
And that could really impact the game and stuff. The whole thing about the umpire, though, like I'm sorry, like we're in the 21st century with all this technology. Like we're so far behind on technology. Like Singapore is kicking our ass. Like I'm sorry, like no, like the umpires is gonna have to suck it up. And look, we're not. I don't like embarrassing umpires because they do have a hard job to do. Like to be a professional baseball umpire, you have to have a good eye. You have to have good stamina. You have to be in shape. Even though there were some that were pretty fat. But like, no, man, their jobs are tough as it is. So it's not about embarrassing, it's about getting it right. If they feel embarrassed, that's a them thing. That's a them problem, you know?
The point he made about pitchers throwing harder than ever and with more movement than ever is the point of, I think, how tough their job is. But here's the thing for me. I'm with you, Dan. If you have the technology, you use the technology. I want to give them credit because on most of the challenges I've seen, most of these pitches are close. It's within an inch or 2 inches. It's not like it's way off and where Angel Hernandez in it.
Yeah, or like
You know,
CB Buckner against with the
right?
Reds, which were
Look,
horrible,
they're
horrible.
doing as good of a job as they can. We just want the calls to be right. If pitchers and catchers are going to get frustrated, well, guess what? That's a them problem too. And look, I think this goes back to one of the analytic things that I really don't love, and that's the pitch framing. And that's kind of now what you're going to have to, teams are going to have to realize, listen, maybe we can't frame as many pitches as we want because of the challenge system. So maybe that's something else teams are going to have to look at. But I think for right now, I think ABS has been awesome. And it takes up literally, was it 10 seconds if?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, the ABS system, Mark, you're right. It's working. And I think it's really interesting on when teams utilize it. I think that's the more interesting part about it.
Right. The only thing I don't want to see is C3PO behind the catcher.
Can R2D2 be first base?
Nah, BB-8.
Put a stormtrooper out in left field?
Yeah, they can't. No, right field. They can't hit anything with anything, so nothing's going to get to where it's supposed to.
All right.
Vader's Manning Center. We're all good.
All right. So back to the series for the week. Mets, Dodgers. Dan, the Yankees are going to host the Angels.
I mean,
Mike Trout coming to town.
I mean, the hope is that the Yankees bats figure it out. Like because Yankee pitching's fine. Yankee pitching has been giving up a lot of runs. But the Yankee bats haven't been helping them. So, like Booney, get your lineup right. Get your lineup together. You know, it's not Boone's fault that that players can hit. And look, and I've been hard on Boone his entire managerial career, and I'm going to continue to be hard on him.
With good reason.
But it's not his fault so far. So far, Judge with the Blues a little bit, even though he gets on base a lot, which I like. Chisholm not coming through. Giancarlo's kind of quiet. Bellinger is okay. It's not a lineup right now that is producing, which is a problem.
Especially against a Los Angeles Angels team that is producing.
Yeah.
I mean, the big name, Mike Trout, got off a great start first 2 games of the season with home runs, has not hit one since and has been pretty much quiet. The good thing is he has not made it onto the IL yet.
Yeah.
I think the name you have to look at as a guy who's been a surgeon is Joe Adell. Has been hitting very well, plus his defense. Zach Neto has been having a good year at shortstop. I'm not going to say that Jorge Soler is not good. He's got 15 RBIs on the season. I think this is a nice team, but it's not a team that's going to end up going far. I think a lot of it will fall off come the summer.
Zach Neto might be the most, let me phrase it, Zach Neto might be the most underappreciated player in all baseball with how good he is.
Mm.
And it sucks that half the country doesn't see him because he plays on the West Coast and the Angels stink. So you got Angels, Yankees, Cubs, Phillies in Philadelphia, Royals, Tigers, Marlins, Braves, Blue Jays, and Brewers, and then the Mariners and the Padres. And then next weekend, the Mets are at Wrigley.
Hopefully we miss Shota because he's been pitching very well.
3-day games, too. Love it.
Yeah. Noticed that a lot lately across the league. There's been a lot more day games than usual.
I want more day games. I am cool with that.
The only problem with day games is your attendance is not going to be there.
Early in the year, I'm okay with it, but day games. Love the day games. Braves, Phillies next weekend. Royals, Yankees. Tigers, Red Sox, and the Blue Jays go to Arizona to play the Diamondbacks. So anything catch anyone's eye?
I think it's a couple of good series out there. I like the Philly series. I like the San Diego series. I think while these teams are all finally playing as a little bit of everything from power to bunting, let's put it what it is. I like the change that we are seeing. I also and still have a pit in my stomach churning on what's going to happen at the end of this season.
So those are the series to look forward to over the next week. We'll be back with you next Sunday morning, talking about it all, previewing the week ahead. Check out the podcast version wherever you get your podcast. Like, comment, subscribe here on the YouTube channel. Mark, you got anything you want to say on the dugout?
Dugout just sent out 100 cards to be graded, so we'll be waiting 90 days for those to come back, which is perfect as I will be going down for surgery on May 1st. So when those come back, I'll be feeling a lot better and be able to deal with it.
All right. For all content, go to the sportstosayingnetwork.com for blogs, vlogs, plays, trades, and automobiles. Follow the socials, Facebook, the Sports Saying Network, Twitter, Insanity Real. Dan, Mark, I'm Mike. Thanks for listening to the this edition of the Batter Up Podcast, sponsored by the Dugout of Millwood here on the Sports Insanity Network. We will see you live next Sunday, guys. Have a good week.